Let's stay with another commodity now, going to Latin America. Colombia's oil production is close to hitting the government's target of 1 million barrels per day. That's put it in Latin America's top 5 oil producers, thanks to government efforts to make the country more attractive and safer for investors going forward. You can see production here spread right across the country, but many more areas are being explored. The light blue here is the exploration blocks, and the darker blue here, the actual production blocks. However, becoming a major oil producer doesn't necessarily solve all your economic problems. In fact, it can be both a blessing and a curse, thanks to something that's called actually the Dutch disease. Luis Carlos Velez joins us live from Bogotá with the details there. Phenomenal story, phenomenal recovery from Colombia. It's amazing, Luis, that it came from a guerrilla war ground, topped the world headlines because of drug dealing, and now is looking like a very promising emerging market and one for oil.
It is amazing, John. That's right. This is a typical story of too much of a good thing can easily become a bad thing. Colombia's oil boom could actually damage its economy. How so? Well, analysts say Colombia could experience what economists call the Dutch disease. This is basically an economics concept that explains the apparent relationship between the exploitation of natural resources and a decline in manufacturing. What it says is an increase in revenues or investments from natural resources will result in the appreciation of the local currency. Now, when the local currency is stronger, exports become more expensive for other countries to buy, making the local manufacturing sector less competitive. Now, this could happen here in Colombia. Here are some symptoms. Colombia has rapidly become a major oil exporter. It is now the 3rd largest producer in Latin America, with output equal to 1/3 of Mexico's and 2/5 of Venezuela. This is an oil. Colombia's direct foreign investment is also booming. According to its central bank, it will reach a record of $18 billion at the end of this year. That will represent an increase of 17%. Colombia's finance minister, Juan Carlos Echeverri, says the country is doing what it can to avoid the so-called Dutch disease.
The risk exists always. The risk is there, and the whole package, economic package of the Santos administration is geared towards avoiding this infection. How? By avoiding appreciation of the exchange rate. Nowadays, we have pressures not only from the oil and mining industries that are booming in Colombia, but also from the excess supply of dollars by the Federal Reserve in the United States. So we have avoided bringing dollars to finance the Colombian government. We have reduced the prices of energy and of tariffs. We have signed free trade agreements with many countries. We have purchased $20 million per day by the central bank since January this year. And we keep fighting to avoid appreciation. This is a difficult moment for everybody. Everybody is participating in what is called the war, the currency war, which is everybody's trying to pump up its own currency in order to devalue its value. The Americans, the Chinese, the Brazilians, the Europeans, and we have to do the same. So there is always a risk, and we are all fighting against that.
But the reality here is, with or without Dutch disease, this is a good problem to have. A good problem if you consider that although this country is still fighting drug trafficking and a 40-year-old conflict with the guerrillas, it's considered to be one of the best business destinations in the region. For the local government, John, this is just the result of better security and fine economic and social policies, John.
Okay, thanks very much. Luis Carlos Velez reporting for the first time from Colombia, Bogotá, the capital, on the global exchange tonight.